we have next on the line, let's see, is Jamie from Central Illinois wants to talk about having dinner with friends. Now, that's an interesting in terms of our lockdown scenario. Jamie, are you there?
Hi, yeah, I'm here. It's not been since the quarantine. It was before.
Okay. All right. Well,
So
now it sounds like your problem solved because you can't have dinner with these irritating friends anymore, right?
oddly enough, no, it's not the friends that are irritating. Sadly, it's my husband and I think, that are irritating. The friends are
Oh,
great.
they okay. I don't understand that. You're gonna have to tell me the issue. So what's happening?
Okay, the issue is that my husband and I, well, I would say fundamentally we're both pretty happy in our marriage, and it's a lot of fun a lot of the time. We are both extremely good at pushing one another's buttons, and when that
Oh,
happens,
now wait a minute. You
oh
said
yeah.
you're extremely good at it. Is this like a skill you worked at it over time? You got a coach. You say, "How can I get to that button? I want that one. I'm gonna make you." Okay,
No, I think we were innately born this way, maybe, but I don't know.
just comes
It's one of those.
naturally.
Sadly, I think it does a little bit to both of us. And sometimes we are better at, nipping that in the bud than others. But it's very situational, it seems like. And especially if stress has been entered into the equation. My
If
husband,
what? Wait a minute.
we
If
own
what
our
has
own.
been entered?
Yeah,
If
stress,
what? If,
like
oh, stress. Yeah.
stress. Yeah, we own our own business, and say we've had a bad day, and a bad day might mean things just not going our way or just too much to get done in one day. Any of the typical stressors, but that sometimes is a recipe for disaster with us. And maybe the answer
Okay.
is simply that we shouldn't have plans on times like that. But the case that I was pointing out to your producer beforehand, what happened that evening, we went to dinner and we were both on each other's nerves, if that makes sense. And at dinner, my husband did a simple little thing that just irritated the crap out of me, if I'm being honest. He took a spoon, and it was a clean spoon, and he was just being silly, but he knows me, and he later admitted he knew it would irritate me. And he took it and he rubbed my chin with it. And I can't even explain to you why it irritated me like that. It just did.
No, wait a minute.
And
Stop.
I
Stop.
think,
Hang on. Time out. Time out. Time out.
yeah,
You're at dinner with friends, and he takes a spoon
hmm
and reaches over and rubs your chin with it,
just swipes it across my chin, like
like
I don't know,
next to
almost like
you
he was kind of like he was trying to be affectionate. It was it was just
with a
silly.
spoon.
I don't. Yeah, yeah.
Never seen that one, but okay, go ahead.
I haven't either. It was strange, but he knows me, and I don't appreciate stuff. It felt disrespectful, in all honesty, and he was
Whoa,
aware.
whoa. But you said a second ago like he was trying to be affectionate. Was his intent to be affectionate, or was his intent to bug you?
Oh, I think he wanted it to look like he was being affectionate, but I think he wanted to bug me, and I think he
Oh,
would agree with that too. You know what I mean? Like,
okay.
it was softly done. It wasn't like, it was so strange. It was just kind of, he was like, oh, this is embarrassing, but his nickname for me is Pussycat. And he's like, oh, Pussycat. And he rubbed it across. It might have been my cheek. Now that I think about it, it was my cheek. And it wasn't my chin, but it doesn't matter. Anyway, what I want to
Okay.
know is, because I value your time, and thank you for all that you do. You're amazing. We've done a couple of your small group studies, and they're just transformational. But in a situation like that, how do I deal with it without escalating it? Like, my tendency is to either blow up or ignore. And I don't think either one of those
Did
is right, because if I blow up,
did
it
you
escalates. If I
did you blow
ignore,
up
then I
in the
resent.
moment? Did you
No,
blow
not
up in the
that time.
moment?
I didn't. I
Okay.
didn't that
Now,
time.
does
Um,
ignore mean ignore it in the moment, take it up later, or you ignored it completely?
yeah, ignore it in the
Yeah.
moment, and then we deal with it later.
Oh, well, that sounds like oftentimes, excuse me, that's like good emotional regulation. I mean, if you're in a setting sometimes where it's not appropriate to have a big, argument or conflict, then you put it off till we get in the car or, till we get home. So I'm not so much concerned about the waiting to talk about it, if that's what you mean by ignore. There's sometimes where something's appropriate to address in the moment, sometimes where you kind of let it go.
Okay.
But what I'm what I am concerned about is after you got in a setting where it's okay to talk about how that discussion goes. So when you say, what do? Do you blow up and start screaming? Do you whack him with a spoon? Do you say, what were you doing? Do you, what if I were a fly on the wall in that conversation, what did it sound
Yeah. In all honesty, I think it depends upon which moment I tend to, or which moment I choose to broach the subject, if that makes sense. Like and I can be pretty self-aware if I'm irritated and it comes to mind and I bring it up then I kind of come at it like a wrecking ball. Like, what were you thinking? What were you doing? I don't appreciate that. Don't ever do that to me again, that type of thing, which escalates it again, and all that, resentment comes out. If honestly, like, the best time that I can address things like that with him is typically like if we're just having a lazy Sunday afternoon or something like that, where both of us are being very chill, and it seems like we can have conversations like that and get to the point and say, and he'll frequently admit, yeah, I was doing it to irritate you. I'm a jerk, or whatever. And he'll even apologize.
So he can own it.
Oh, he can at times, yeah. If
what a
I
hero.
Escalate, he never owns it. He never owns it. But if I don't, and I attack, then he's going to be like, what are you talking about?
Exactly. There's a verse in the Bible that says that the anger of a person never accomplishes the righteousness of God, meaning that anger never solves problems. What it does is it makes us aware that there is a problem. So when we're screaming at somebody or putting somebody down or being aggressive or hurtful or whatever, then they are feeling like, so you're bugged about this and you're escalating and saying, what do you think? All this kind of stuff we do, all of us have done this. Mm-hmm. And you're doing that, even if it's with a kid, much less a husband. And when you're talking to a husband like that, you're actually regressing him into a kid at that moment. Now he's getting scolded by mother, right? So that's a whole nother issue. But
oh, wow.
When we're going at somebody with anger, what they feel like usually has nothing to do with a spoon. They don't feel like my behavior. See, he did something, he said, that was jerky, right? That's the real problem here. Mm-hmm. But when we're coming at somebody with anger, they don't feel like their behavior is the problem. They feel like this angry woman is my problem.
Is the problem, yes. 100%,
is the problem.
Yes.
And so that's why we always do well when we regulate our anger, okay? And not let our anger do our talking for us. That's why one of my favorite verses about this, it says, be angry, but in your anger, don't sin. So we got to be angry because that tells us that there's a problem. I would want, when you're bugged, I want you to be bugged. But the first thing you do is you name it. Okay. And you say, you know what? I'm getting aware of this. I think I'm getting pretty mad. And if it's at the place where it's appropriate to use that anger to alert you, if you're driving down the freeway and a car is doing something in front of you that's dangerous or whatever, and you're, aware and it's kind of okay, and they're not going to shoot you, road rage or whatever. And you what you do is you tap on the horn and say, baby, and you make them aware. Okay. So there's a continuum here. We start to feel something and we use that initial feeling to tap somebody and say, you know what, can you not do that? And they go, oh, okay, I'm sorry, that's fine. But there's two problems to this. One is, are they in a place where they can escalate to road rage, or are we in a place where we're too angry just to tap on the horn? What we're going to do is, rear end them or something. So the first thing is to be aware of your own feelings, and you may not be in a place at that moment where you can talk about this. That's fine. But just say, you know what? I think I need to take a little time out right now. I mean, we can talk about this, but I'm gonna go take a warm bath, or I'm gonna go for a walk, or I'm gonna go play with the dog, or I'm gonna go, run up a bunch of charges on your credit card. I'm kidding. Don't do that.
That sounds nice. But, yeah, we pay the same. Or
but just joint. it's basically what we do with a kid, right? When they're escalating.
Right.
we put
Right.
them in timeout. And I used to say to my girls,
Yes.
okay, when you can use your words and not scream, we can talk about this. And so you probably need a little timeout. And the other thing is, and then I got to go. Unfortunately, we're running out of time. But the other thing about this is, you mentioned something really important, which I really like this guy so far. I mean, I think
Everybody does. Come on.
but, but I think I think the spoon thing is, I mean, it's not good. I'm not going to encourage that, but I think there's something about it. I don't know. But the thing I like about him is that you said he owns his behavior. You said, yeah, you're right. That was kind of jerky. And anybody that can do that is really capable of, solving problems. And so I like that. So what I would do
Okay. Thank
is,
you for that.
yeah, I would talk about this. You guys run a business together too, and that's hard. But it's
Hmm.
great. My parents ran a business together. I grew up in a family business, and so it's probably
Yeah,
good
it's
for
been a
y'all
huge
to
blessing.
say, yeah, let's just say, okay, let's look at our patterns here, and we have some patterns. And one of the things is, sometimes when we've had work stress, it kind of interferes in our marriage. Like, if you notice that we have a hard day
Amen.
at work or
Yes.
something's happened, then we don't go right from there into being the best lovers in the world or the best family
Hmm.
dinner or whatever it is. And so let's look at how that happens, and maybe let's establish some practices that, maybe it's been a hard day. Do you drive separate cars?
Yes. We have a
Okay.
construction company, and I usually work at home. He usually is out on the job sites.
Okay. So whatever. Maybe you have some. I was going to say, if you both drive home, whoever gets home first, you got a little bulletin board out there, that on the garage door. You put up red, which means I need some time by myself. I've had a hard day. Or you put up green.
That's brilliant.
You let you let
Yeah.
each other know, are we in a space right now where I can be my best self? And you notice those patterns. And so begin to look
Okay.
at your patterns. I've got a saying that I love. I put it in one of my books, The One Life Solution. It says, find the misery and make a rule. Okay. So,
Say that again.
like
Find
like
a,
find the misery and make a rule.
okay, and make a rule.
So,
Okay.
for example, um, I I have a numbers head, and if I ever
Hmm.
deal with anything financial, it could be good, it could be bad, it could be whatever it is. If I deal with anything financial that has meaning to me at night, I'm going to wake up at 3 in the morning and my head is running spreadsheets. It's just the way it was. And so
Wow.
I,
Yeah.
I've noticed that. And Tori, my wife, knows, and she'll say to me, at 6 o'clock, she'll say, let's make a note tomorrow. I want to talk to you about A, B, or C, because I know you want to talk about that tonight. Because we have a rule that we don't talk about anything financial after 7 ever.
Smart.
Yourself. Okay. And so in a relationship, what you got to do is you got to find some if there's some misery and some patterns, and we set some rules that kind of keep us from doing that. Maybe and I'll leave you with this. No spoons on the cheek.
Amen.
I
I
like
agree.
that one. Okay,
Thank you
well,
so
thank you
much.
for calling. It's good to talk with you, and we're going to have to begin to wind down for today on the Dr. Cloud Show.